Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad everybody could be here. Oh man, what the heck? Yeah, sounds about right. Um, Welcome to Seeker of the Unknown. Glad you guys could be here. Sorry it's been taking so long, but um, we've got a lot of stuff to come in future episodes. This is going to be episode 71. So if you guys haven't been here for the last ones, you guys can check them out on YouTube. Let's see, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, and listen to the past episodes on YouTube. If you go to podcast section and look it up, they'll be all listed in there from the first one all the way to the 71st one. But today, what I wanted to get on the subject of, or on the topic of, is one of the things anyway, is the release of the UFO files that they've been dumping on the War Department's website, and just talk a little bit about that, talk about these missing scientists, and get into some of the discussion about what is going on with the distraction points on why we're seeing a lot of this stuff happening now, because it seems like a lot of things are going on within the world right now with UFOs. We've got this war with Iran. Nobody's talking about the Epstein files anymore. Everybody was all upset about that. Nobody's going off on that stuff anymore. And now we've got this big dump of UFO and UAP and extraterrestrial beings and bases in the ocean, actual beings that are still here on the planet, that have been here for a while. And it seems like a distraction. I mean, we've got so many things going on. We've got, this whole hantavirus thing going on, where there's another virus outbreak now that they're starting to try and throw out there into the public and get everybody's attention on. But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that's going on, and it seems like it's just a big distraction for what is really going on, behind the scenes. What is their end game? What are they planning? What are they doing? And where are they trying so hard to distract us from seeing whatever it is that they're trying to cover up? So before we get into this, like we always do, let's start off the show real quick and then we'll jump into it. All right. All right, cool. So as always, that's how we always start the show. So welcome everybody that's been here. And welcome all the newcomers. If you haven't been a watcher of the show, again, like I said, please go and check out my channel on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Spotify. And you can see all previous episodes prior to this one. If you go to the podcast section of YouTube, everything will be inside of there, and you can just click on it and you can go through the files and look through all the videos, or you can just hit play all and it'll play every single one of them. But again, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Another thing that I wanted to touch bases on is that a lot of times, I guess it seems like when people talk about these things, when people bring up this subject matter or discussion types about anything that has to do with aliens or UAPs or UFOs, whatever the hell you want to call them. I grew up with UFO and I like UFO better, so I'm going to stick with that. Unidentified aerial phenomena is just really stupid. It just seems like it's something that was thrown into the mix to kind of just get it how can you say it? A distraction point. Now that we have this release of information from the government to the public, I mean, like in large amounts. I just got off of the website, and it seems like, a lot of stuff is newer things. It's none of the old stuff, none of the old classified documentations, none of the old videos of these beings. I couldn't find anything on it. It seems like it's more of recent things, and I mean recent like our time, as far as like, things that are happening in, Syria, or, videos of the military chasing these UAPs or UFOs and releasing the videos on that stuff. If we are going to have a release of information and it is so cryptic to where it's like, why are you not just coming out and saying this stuff and just telling us and giving us all the information instead of just doing all this bullshit, dancing around with everything? That to me is the distraction, because if this stuff is happening and you are saying, yes, these files that we're releasing are going to tell you everything that you have been wanting to see or hear, and you can read it for yourself, why is nobody actually coming out and saying yes? And another thing that's really weird is like when they ask the president, do you believe in this stuff? And it's like, well, I don't believe in it, but they're releasing this stuff. Isn't that kind of like ass backwards? That if they're releasing this stuff and the evidence has been in the military or the government files for this long, and they do actually have the evidence of these things going on or happening, then I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. It just seems weird. Like there's more to the story. There's more that's going on, and there's more that's happening that they're not telling us. I don't know. To me, that just seems like the bigger underlying what is actually happening and what's going on, because it just doesn't seem right to me. It just seems like something really weird is going on. It seems like a lot of things are being brought out to the public, but it's not the full disclosure that we've been trying to get our hands on, that people like Dr. Stephen Greer have been pushing since the 80s, through all the research and through all of the information that he's gathered. And speaking on Dr. Stephen, one of the things that I wanted to say was because he had just come out on the show with Alex from InfoWars, and I just wanted to play a clip of that real quick, just so that way we could take a look at it and see what was being said.
Your plan to do this, then all this death started, including the top general disappearing.
Well, General McCaslin, he was.
Here we go. Lagging of information. I don't know what's going on with my internet lately. It's just been really lagging, and it's ticking me off. Because it seems like it's been doing this a lot lately. I don't know if anybody else has been having issues with it. Come on.
The light switch is right when. Why are they killing so many people? Like they flipped the light switch. Right when Trump said disclose and sent Hegseth out with your plan to. Why are they killing so many people? Like they flipped the light switch. Right when Trump said disclose and sent Hegseth out with your plan to do this, then all this death started, including the top general. Disappearing.
Well, General McCaslin.
Come on, dude.
Why are they killing so many people? Like they flipped the light switch. Right when Trump said disclose and sent Hegseth out with your plan.
I don't know what's going on. This is like
plan to do this, then all this death started, including the top general disappearing.
Well, General McCaslin, he was a Wright-Patterson, very dark projects operator. And we know his history. I've known about it for 20 some years. We're not sure if he vanished himself. He may have decided. Now, remember, I can only have to be careful what I'm going to say here. There's a very senior law enforcement entity, task force, drilling down on this at the level of RICO, racketeering, influence, corrupt organization charges. And there is a noose going tightening around these criminal deep state actors. Part of his disappearance may be that they were getting very close to what he had been doing with some very criminal activities, and he made himself disappear. So I don't think they're all the same situation. Now, there are scientists like Amy Estridge, who I can't prove it, but it's likely she was wet worked or assassinated because she had developed
the latest
an anti-gravity
NASA
system.
engineer.
All right, for a lot of you that don't understand what he's saying right now with the jargon of talking about wet working or assassinations, that's what he means. If you've followed Dr. Stephen Greer and you've watched any of the information that he's put out in his documentaries or watched him come out with his disclosure talks or the people that he has on his team, the whistleblowers who have come forward, and a lot of them have been, I guess you could say, removed. They've been assassinated. They've been taken out. This is what he's talking about. There is a lot of things that have happened around Dr. Stephen Greer with the release of this information. Dr. Stephen Greer, if you don't know anything about him, this man is incredible. He's one of the big influencers of my research and looking into this stuff, besides the experiences that I've had myself. But he has released thousands and thousands of files. He has released more disclosure information than the government has in the past 20-something years, 30 years. And he actually has a website. If you go to it, you can look up everything that he has in his archive, because he has the pictures, he has files, he has videos, everything that has been released by his people that have been working on his team, the whistleblowers. You can go to his archives and look at this stuff. And what he's saying here is that there are a lot of people who have gone missing. There's a lot of incidences that have happened where people have either been, like he said, wet worked or assassinated, if you will, because of the information that they put out, because of the information that they themselves have been releasing. And he's talking about there is a military organization, police organization, that is charging these people with the RICO Act. And a lot of these people are either unaliving themselves or going into hiding and disappearing because the government is cracking down on them because of the information that they're putting out, and they're not allowed to do this. So that's what he means. So if you're not following what he's talking about, that's what he means is the wet working and this government police task force.
Physicist found burned up in his car.
Well, all of these are suspicious. All of that one you just referred to was just when I had 6 different black site Delta Force operators who were about to come forward with a lot of evidence, and they created this situation in Las Vegas, and there were all kinds of threats made against them in a skiff where they were talking about engaging targeted killings or kill list. And they backed down from releasing that material that we.
Come on, don't start freezing them now. Damn it.
Were about to come forward with a lot of evidence, and they created this situation in Las Vegas, and there were all kinds of threats made against them in a skiff where.
And another thing too is that he talks about things like a skiff. So what a skiff is what they do is they have these whistleblowers who are coming forward with this information and that are talking about these things to Congress behind closed doors, where they can release all of this information to them because it's classified. They are essentially giving them the information without having it being made public. So they're telling them everything, details, names, places, situations, dates and times of all of this stuff that has happened. And there are things that can't be said, so they're presenting it to Congress or to the Senate, to Congress actually. So I'm sorry, and behind closed doors, which is what they're talking about, these skiffs. And they set it up so that way these people who want to come forward with this information can release it to them, but there's things before they have hearings that they can't say. So when you see these hearings or you see this release of information by these whistleblowers or these people who are testifying on live television, you will oftentimes hear them say, I can't release this to you, but I can tell you in later on in a skiff. We can discuss this information later on if you need to, to know this or you want to talk about it. So that's what he's talking about when he's saying skiffs that are being, brought up or things that are being said in these situations.
They were talking about engaging targeted killings or kill list, and they backed down from releasing that material that we thought was imminent back just before the inauguration. So I think each case is complex. We don't have time here to unpack them, but I think each case is complex. We don't have time here to unpack them, but I don't think they're all for the same reason. Some have been sort of like a slap suit, but instead of a slap suit legally, they just flat out kill some people and leave a marker. Now, look, about 4 years ago,
I was about to say, so it's a message: keep your mouth shut.
Yes. And it works for some people. Now, it's never worked for me because I'm devoted to getting this fixed. And if they kill me,
It's a message, keep your mouth shut.
Yes, and it works for some people. Now, it's never worked for me because I'm devoted to getting this fixed, and if they kill me, so be it. I'm prepared to meet my maker. But I think that I'm very spiritual and about it. But I mean, some aren't. And I know the one that I'm working with, who's a senior operator, Delta Force, out west at a black site. He has children, school-age children. A couple of them are still, and so it gets very frightening for these men because
you're willing to die, then they target your family. It's a whole other level. So I talked to my family when we got threatened, and they did, and basically my whole family. I can't really ask my 8-year-old, but they just said no, we're willing to die. So I have my full family's back. We're all ready to die. So it's good.
Yep, and that's a very usually never happens, but just the specter of it puts a chill over whistleblowers. This is why there's a whistleblower act that's trying to grind through the Senate that would provide heightened protections. But I think the really high value ones that I have, and I have dozens of very high value ones that have been key in the decision making or in the corporations dealing with this, they need witness protection. They need serious tactical protection, not just legal protection.
And is it the UFO, suppression of secret technology in general, gravity control, all of it, fission, fusion, the list goes on and on? Isn't that the key to the deep state, the heart of it? I mean, you.
All right. So you basically see what Dr. Stephen Greer is talking about, where he's saying, a lot of these people who come out, they're trying to pass this Whistleblower Protection Act, which is going to give the protection to these people that come forward from being threatened or being unalived, or gives them a sense of safety if they come out and discuss this stuff, and are given protection, because a lot of these people literally are being unalived, like these 11 scientists that went missing, and the projects that they were working out. If you didn't see it, the one scientist that they had the picture up of on the corner, she came out with a lot of videos discussing information that she was working on, and that she was the job that she was doing, which she shouldn't have done, and taken the steps to ensure that she was going about it the right way. Fred, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. And the the way in which these people come out, like Dr. Stephen Greer was saying, is that these people are doing things not in a savvy way, where they're doing it to be able to be protected. They're doing it where they're coming out and they're talking about things that they shouldn't be talking about without having those protections in place. And again, like I said, if you look at Dr. Stephen Greer's information that he has released, it is freaking mind blowing. He is the forerunner in getting this information released since the 80s. And the very first series that I watched in his documentary, the very first video in his series, was Unacknowledged, and it is a fantastic movie, documentary. I highly urge anybody that has not watched any of these to watch them, because it has literally set up the precedents to see what we are actually experiencing now in our time. And as he said, he has literally put himself on the chopping block as far as being assassinated, to again ensure that this information gets put out to the public, because this is what he is passionate about. He has had threats on his life. He's had people that have been around him that have been killed. He has got and put a a release of information in case something happens to him, that all the files and everything that is being set up to be released in its time, if something does happen to him, that he will release all that information to the public and it will be made known. And this is not something that is just him. There are plenty of whistleblowers that are out there that are trying to get this information released and are scared for their lives. And they have, I mean, really mind-blowing things to say. Anybody that's watched Gaia on the disclosure movement, and seen some of the things that have come out through disclosure about the things that the whistleblowers and people who have been working in the secret space program, or people that have been working with these agencies or for these agencies, to be able to wrap your head around what they are saying and what they have been working on is really, it's like, you know, all this stuff that has been going on has just been, we've been kept in the dark for so long. It's unbelievable. It really is. That anybody who has not seen this information needs to go look at it, because you're like 4 steps, like 10 steps behind if you're jumping into this thing and you're not sure what it is that we're talking about. Again, like I said, this disclosure movement has been happening for a long time, and Dr. Stephen Greer has been at the forefront of it. Again, you have people like David Wilcox, who has also been in this information and has also brought out whistleblowers who have gone on to be in the realm of Dr. Stephen Greer, that he has passed off to him, that worked with David Wilcox. And we just saw what happened to him. And there's a lot of speculation and a lot of mystery surrounding what he was dealing with. And the releasing of this information has been detrimental to people. That it has put not only just strains on their personal life, but people around them. And when you look at these people who have forefronted this thing, Dr. Stephen Greer, David Wilcox, Emery Smith, countless other people, if you look into disclosure, again, like I said, on Gaia, you have a lot of these whistleblowers who come out through that episode or through that series, that discuss a lot of things that have been going on for a long time. These people are literally living their lives in fear because they are being threatened. They know that the things that they're bringing out, that they're talking about, that are going on in the government. Another one, Bob Lazar, prime example. If you don't know who Bob Lazar is one of the most renowned people to actually have worked in Area 51. Came out in the 80s and discussed about him working in Area 51, talking about reverse engineering the UFOs or UAPs that he was working on. Yeah, and that's the thing, is a lot of things that are coming out, people are, they're showing all these videos and all this crap about stuff, and it's like, okay, well, where's all the old stuff? Where's all the stuff that these whistleblowers have been talking about for freaking years? Where's all the videos? Where's all the pictures of the bodies? Where's all the evidence of these, all this other stuff? And it seems like we get more information from the whistleblowers themselves with the information that they're bringing forward than we are now with the government, who actually has the evidence in their possession. And I think that in and of itself, yeah, and that's what we want. That's what I think the validation is that people want the confirmation. Okay, all the stuff that we've been talking about for years, and the people that have been coming forward and discussing all of this stuff, we want the validation. Like, okay, so you're saying that yes, there is fucking underground bases, and yes, there is fucking beings that live on inside of the earth, and yes, there is been cities or civilizations that have been living with the earth, or there's fucking bases on the moon, or all of this shit. And it's like, a lot of things that people, just think about it. Technology has progressed so much in a matter of a short time that we see the development of technologies, and this is one of the things that Dr. Stephen Greer talks about. We see technology progressing where we have gone from basic technological advancements that have jumped 100 years within 2 centuries, since the 70s, 60s. That's another thing too, is the deals that were made with the government. There was something that I had just posted about the Canadian Prime Minister who came out, that was talking about a whistleblower who was talking about the agreements that were being made that he had witnessed and was being told to by these beings about what was going on. And that in and of itself is the validation that we need. Because again, like I said, the technology that we have been progressing on has been more than what we have seen in the past 1,000 years or whatever. But we're still driving fossil fuel cars, which makes no fucking sense if you look at it. How are we able to make smartwatches, microchips, communication devices, weapons of mass destruction that are able to render people defenseless in minutes, but we're still driving cars that run on gas? I mean, it's 2026 for God's sake, and where the fuck is the Jetsons lifestyle? Where we're driving flying cars and anti-gravity, which is what these scientists were working on. The scientists that were coming forward, like I said, that one scientist, the female that was, posted the videos on TikTok or whatever, and was talking about all this shit that they were doing. And yes, we progressed, anti-gravity, and, we've perfected it. But the problem is that, going back and trying to replicate it is really hard, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, I think she put her foot in her mouth and ended up getting to the point where it was like, okay, this woman is doing more than what she should be doing, and we need to silence her. No, it's totally it's totally fine. It's really, that's why I want, I put the chats up, because I want people to this stuff. This is what we do. Why is it that we are not getting the information that we should be getting from the government, and it should be them that is releasing this stuff? Why is it that it is people that are putting their lives in danger to get this information out to the public, but yet the government is still trying to sit here and go around the information instead of just giving it to us straightforward? A lot of people have died. A lot of people have come forward. A lot of people have really given up their lifestyle and their freedom and in order to get this stuff brought out to the public. And it's really sad to think that we live in a world where this stuff is more dangerous for the people that are living it to come out and present it to the public, and they are seen more as a threat than the destruction of our planet and the killing of our natural resources that we have been doing. That a lot of these beings who have come here, that these whistleblowers who have in fact seen, witnessed, experienced, and given messages from these beings and telling us, if you don't change what you're doing, you guys are going to end up going down a path that is going to lead to your own demise, and it needs to change now. And these people are being silenced for trying to come out with this information and bring that forward. And another thing that goes along with that is that the disinformation, the information that comes out that is discrediting people that are trying to bring this stuff forward. Again, Dr. Stephen Greer talks about it as well, that these people are being drawn into a narrative of being made to discredit them for the things that they're saying or experiencing or trying to bring forward. And it's really sad because this information could alter our projected timelining. We have time to, is it too late for us to try and change the path that we're on, that these people have been trying to bring forward for the past 55, 60 years with this information? I don't know. All I know is that the information that these people, these whistleblowers have been trying to bring out has been really detrimental to our path of what we are trying to do in bettering humanity. And it seems like the powers that be are trying to stop that. They're trying to prevent this from happening because the power, the money, the resources that they're using are actually, it's like they said, if we were to change, like Dr. Stephen Greer said in his third documentary about the energy and the technologies over the past 100 years, if we were to change everything now, the powers that be that are in control, the Raytheons, the Chevrons, the Techron, all these fucking gas companies, all these petroleum companies, all these energy resource companies would no longer cease to exist, or they would no longer exist. They would cease to exist because these technologies would literally change our way of life overnight. Hunger would be a thing of the past. Fossil fuel burning would be a thing of the past. We would have free energy resources. We would no longer have to rely on this and have to pay for it. And it seems like that is what Dr. Stephen Greer's passion to drive this information to be released is. And a lot of people who are behind him and that are they are doing the best they can to get this information to help change our course of destruction that we are literally heading towards. And Dr. Stephen Greer warned about this in his documentary Unacknowledged, the very first one that I saw, where he discusses he discusses the time when the information is going to come to pass, where, like we are seeing now, where this time is coming where we are supposedly supposed to be getting all of this information released to the public, and it's being made known. And the disinformation that is going to come with it, the false flag narratives that are going to end up coming out to prevent the release of this information, or it's going to come out where it's like, oh yeah, we're releasing this stuff, but it's not going to be anything that we don't already know. And Werner von Braun, if anybody who doesn't know who Werner von Braun, because you've been sleeping under a rock for whatever, and his strategy from what he was saying when he told his assistant who was working with him on his deathbed, he told her there's going to be 4 stages. And we are literally now in those last stages because the other 3 have already come to pass. Now we are seeing them preparing us for what they're going to call a false flag narrative, which is a false alien invasion. Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam has been in effect for a while now. They have been practicing this. They have been, perfecting this technology for, the past 20 years. We are going to see this fake alien invasion, reverse engineered UAPs, UFOs that are not of alien origin, but are actually our technology that the government has been working on to set the stage, to set the precedence for this last initial false flag movement, which Dr. Stephen Greer has been talking about for the past 20 years. They're going to use religion. They are going to use people's mental, psychological warfare to initiate something where they're going to have people believing something because it's so visually striking that you can't tell the difference between what is real and what is fake, which is again going back to the whole technology thing where, is this why they initiated the AI? What's up, brother? Is this why they are setting up this stage for AI technology to be implemented in this Project Bluebeam strike to deceive a lot of people into thinking things are happening? It's gone from where we are having these paid actors or these paid false flags and narratives of threats or substantial threats to our country, to civilians, to people by initiating this stuff where they're having these people actually act out these things to where they won't even need that anymore, that they will project or have things happen that people psychologically will not be able to handle. They will not be able to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. And they are going to back into what they know, which is control. They want people to save them. They want people to protect them. And that's what I think they're going to drive to. And this is what Dr. Stephen Greer has been talking about for a long time, is that the government is using this fear and control and this narrative to keep people in control, to be able to say, okay, well, we see all this happening. Now we need to initiate this, and we can't do it without people say so, without, Congress, without Senate say so. So they're using this narrative to pass things that are going to either put more restrictions and give them more power, or to do like they did with the Patriot Act, which is going to use fear and use that false flag narrative to take and strip away our rights in the sense of false freedom and false liberty. And yeah, another thing is that, we see this stuff happening and we see it coming to pass. And those of us who are aware of the bullshit, those of us who see past the things that are happening and we question everything, which is why I don't believe anything that the government is putting out, because if they are putting this stuff out and they're trying to tell us, quote unquote, what is real. Yeah, it's called Project Adam and Eve, which goes into the whole thing of the creation story and the religion narrative and the genetic modification of human beings to become what we are. It's a whole thing, which is really freaking interesting. And again, what is it that we who have been on this path, who have been looking and researching a lot of this stuff, that have been trying to see what is happening, what are we going to get from them? If they're holding the keys to this information and they have not released it yet, but yet they want us to trust them about everything that they're trying to show us, again, None of the shit that they're putting out there in these files is nothing that we didn't already know. This is nothing new. We want the validation of the stuff that we have not seen, that we have already gotten the information from this. We want the validation of the things that they're telling us. We want the bodies. We want the extraterrestrial information. We want the release of the information of all these cryptid beings or these things that have been around on this planet that have been kept from us. We want the information of the technologies and the resources that are going to progress and actually change our way of life as we know it, that are going to help and benefit humanity. This is what Dr. Stephen Greer has literally said, and you heard him in the video. He is willing to lay down his life in order for this stuff to end up being released. He has put this stuff out there. It's the validation that he is wanting the government to say and own up to their bullshit of saying, yes, the stuff that you guys have been saying and the things that you guys have been releasing and the things that we have been talking about are real. This is the information. Here it is. Boom. Here's the fucking information on the alien beings. Boom. You know, here's the bases or the locations or the information that we have from the stuff that they've given us about other extraterrestrial planets or other extraterrestrial life forms that are living either on the planet or outside of the solar system. Whatever it is. I don't think that we are ever going to get that information. I think it is going to be a let's dangle this stuff in front of them and let them have a little bit of this information, and then while all this other crap is going on. It's all a diversion. It's all a distraction. It's all a look over here and don't worry about what we're doing on this stuff. Because again, all of this information started coming out when we started talking about the Epstein files. Hold on, bro. Let me see if I can get it. Do you want me to post it on Facebook, bro, or do you want it on YouTube, Fred? Because you're on Facebook, so I'll post it on there. Let me do that. That will work. I will post it on the Seeker of the Unknown page, and then you should be able to get it by then. I mean, that's usually how we've been doing it. So there you go, bro. It should be on there now. Let me know when you get it, and then once you get on and we start going for it, then we'll start. I'll bring you on and then we'll talk about. We'll go into it, man. But yeah, bro. I mean, I don't. You know, I mean, we sit out here and where we're at the high, you know, in the high desert up here in Nevada, we see crap all the time. We see everything that, you know, real. I've seen some weird crap, and what I want to do is I want to try and get a camera set up so I can start live streaming this stuff and show you guys like a lot of the stuff that we see, because we've seen a lot of things that I can't explain as far as like UFOs. We go out at night and we see it. It's like a freaking super highway, you know, of these lights that are just traveling in the stars. We've seen lights that are making these weird movements and directions that, you know, change their pathways that shouldn't be normal. And they disappear. I mean, I've posted videos of this stuff on TikTok. I've posted videos of this stuff on the Facebook page. So we know, you know, that there's things that are out there. There's things that we cannot explain. There's things that are happening that are not, how could you say, normal. And Let's see. There we go. I'm sorry, man, because I couldn't even freaking see the comment. So tinkering with it. All right, brother. If you got it, man, punch it, and then we'll get it going, man. I'm probably gonna be on here for like a couple more minutes, because I'm not gonna try and be on here all day. But I'm gonna try and get the podcast going. Just things come up, and I'd rather take care of life than to get stuck on this. And I could sit here for freaking days and not, worry about life and whatnot. But yeah. Oh, there's Jason. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, brother. How are you doing, dude?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. We're enjoying this crazy weather out here in Nevada, man. It's supposed to be like 85 degrees or something. So,
oh, it's wild. It's I think we got storms up until about like to Wednesday. So,
holy crap. Yeah, man. Hold on. Let me try and get this chat thing off of your face. All right, there you go.
Nobody needs to see my face. It's fine.
But yeah, man, what's going on, man? What's going on in your neck of the woods, dude?
Nothing much, man. Just working, trying to.
You watching the news?
I have been actually a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't try to dive into it way too much, but yeah, I've been watching it. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I haven't been on the news for a few months now, so not even a few months, like a couple weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, saw some. You were talking about some of the UFO stuff, so.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I it's just really interesting, bro. I don't trust shit that they say or that they release, because any of the crap that we have, it's nothing new. It's all shit that we've all heard before. It's nothing that's been different. We want the validation of the shit these whistleblowers are coming out with these underground bases, with these experiments, with the technology, with all of this deep stuff that they're releasing, they're talking about, that we want validation on. And it's they're coming out with these videos of these jet pilots and these videos from Saudi Arabia or off the coast of wherever, and it's like, okay, well, nobody gives a shit about that. We want to see this stuff that people are seeing with these fucking triangle buildings in the sky, and these beings walking around on these clouds and whatnot, or these people seeing these creatures coming out of the earth, or whatever the hell it is. Where's the validation of all this other stuff? Give us the information. Where's this technology that's going to supposedly supposed to
wasn't there I think it was a former CIA guy that said there were like 4 beings?
Yeah, that's the prime minister from Canada, the older guy.
Oh, I thought it was CIA guy. Also,
yeah, he
or at least confirmed it or did something else. But it was like, you have like the insect-looking people, you got the snake-looking people,
you got the reptilians,
the Nordic-looking people, and you got the traditional like big head, big eyes.
Yeah, the Greys. Yeah, so you got the Greys, you got the reptilians, you've got the mantis-looking ones, and you got the Nordic ones that are like 7 foot tall, blonde hair, look like us, but they're hella tall and really, really, really pale. That goes back into that whole thing too, man, about how the Nazis, when they were working on their spacecraft technology during World War II for what is it called, the Waka, the Bell, and they were getting all that information through their psychic and talking to those Nordic beings about how to get that information and build that technology to build that stuff. Those are the ones that they were actually going through, was the Nordics.
Yeah, I mean, they made incredible strides in a very short amount of time.
Oh yeah. And the cool thing about that one is that when they did that experiment and that the bell actually disappeared, it ended up being showing up like 7 or 8 years later, and it crashed in that farm in like Texas or something, or on the East Coast, where those people were seeing it, and it freaking ended up crashing, and the government came and retrieved it, and it ended up actually being that, you know, that technology that they were building. From what the people were saying, they even actually made a fucking model of it and put it in the town square. It was like, you know, witness accounts of what the people were saying that it looked like, which is really crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. Like I know they released the footage of like the F-16 shooting down the thing, but
Yeah.
I know that one's been debunked. That was the, like, during all those weather balloon things, like when the F-22 shot down the weather balloon over like South Carolina or just off the coast of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I know that one's been debunked, but there are a lot of other ones that I know you've shown before where you can start seeing unique objects that you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, like the one that they were talking about, I think it was in Turkey or something. It was like a jellyfish looking machine thing that was like floating through the freaking town.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like they got an actual validation on that one from the archives, from an ancient description of what this thing looked like, and it's the exact same thing. And it's like, okay, well, you know, if this thing was showing up way in, you know, back then, and now we're seeing it again, is this something where these beings are showing themselves again? Like, you know, the description that you hear in the Bible about this, you know, angel being, where it's like the gyroscope inside it and it's got the eye, and now they're showing these pictures of these NASA released footages of these things, and it looks exactly like what the, you know, is being described in, you know, in biblical terms. And it's like, you know, is this what they were actually showing or seeing?
Yeah. What's one of the arguments with was it the Aztecs maybe, or the Mayans?
Mm-hmm.
One of those groups where it actually looked like an astronaut.
Yeah, where it shows it's got the helmet.
Yeah, the big helmet.
Yeah. It makes you think, man, like, you know, is this like something where it's just it's actual extraterrestrial beings, or is it, you know, time travel where these people are going into, you know, the past and showing themselves to these ancient cultures, which is what we're seeing in their artwork or their depictions.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that they could have. You hear me, Sue?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
What's up, Fred? Can you hear me, bro? There you go. I can hear you. I'm not sure if you can hear me, man.
hello.
What's up?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if it's like the connections.
Yeah, the internet connection is fuzzy.
Pretty crappy. Are you there, Jason? Can you hear me, dude?
Yeah, the internet connection is weird, eh?
Yeah, man. I don't know what it is, dude. Like, we've been having like a bunch of issues with connections out here, like especially over our cell service. Like, it's been really, really bad.
Yeah, well, there's sensible informations and things. It happens sometimes on my podcast too.
Yeah.
In the subject of ETs and UFOs and things like that, I've seen weird weird stuff in my life. Myself, a lot of weird things. Some things I cannot explain for sure.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we have been witness of bizarre and peculiar apparitions in the sky, visual artifacts, things like that. I was into that a lot in the beginning of my awakening, if I can use this expression.
Right.
I was very interested in it. And let me tell you, I don't know if they're real or not. I don't know if all this is smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I don't know if the legitimacy of everything we're seeing on the internet. I doubt most of them. Whistleblowers, videos, things like that. I take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. For sure.
Because we get caught into this it totally is a just distraction from the real world happenings. Issues of our world. And this is a total reflection of how confused and I don't think people are ready to know the truth
right
about this. I think even if they would told even if they say to us that extraterrestrial, we would still refute it or debunk it, or there's many people who are working against the grain when it comes to this subject, and people get really emotionally involved into this kind of stuff, and it's a mistake. It's not because it's not important. It's not what I'm saying. I think everything must be looked at. But we have problems that are way worse than disclosure.
Yeah.
Or finding the grays and things like that. But I think it's there's strangers. Sorry about that. I must put it on mute for a second.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. I think that, this, again, has been a distraction point where these people who are trying to keep this stuff suppressed, who are trying to remove hold on real quick, who are trying to keep us distracted from the main things that we're seeing or dealing with. Like I said, again, we're sitting here, we go from this whole thing of releasing the Epstein files, getting all this information out there. We need to make the arrests. We got to bust all these people. All this stuff is coming out. People are dying over that. And all of a sudden we jump into the Iran war distraction thing. And it's like, let's jump into this and get this moving. And when we could just totally end this whole thing, like he said, it could have been done. It could have been done in days. I mean, for Christ's sake, we went into Iraq and it took 3 days for us to wipe out their whole freaking infrastructure and send boots into the ground and get this whole thing going. Here we are, we're talking about Iran, who has, less of the technology and capabilities that Iraq had. The only thing that's helping them is because I think that it's the Chinese and the Russians that are backing them and giving them all of this stuff, that if, they're making that threat and telling Trump, look, hey, dude, if you get yourself involved in this thing, then we have nothing else to do but involve ourselves with this. And now we have this whole alien thing where, now they're just, bringing up this information, but it's nothing that we haven't realized or seen or experienced. I mean, again, it's like people see this stuff and it's like, who gives a shit? whatever. It's nothing new. I could get all this information from watching other people, releasing their videos, or these people that see this stuff. We get more information that way than what we're getting from the government. And, why would we even trust anything the government says anyway? They're not going to give us the legitimacy and the validation that we need. So yeah, I totally agree with you, man. It's a distraction from the things that need to be taken care of. We've got energy crisis, situations. We've got, wars, and, we can eradicate all of this crap and get rid of it. We've got, people starving that we can't even freaking feed. We got food and waste crap, and we're destroying our population and our resources at an alarming rate. That we should be focusing on all this stuff that can be handled, versus sitting here worrying about what they're gonna these little crumbs of BS that they're gonna give us.
Yeah, we're totally submerged by internet noises and information. We totally lost control of the flow of information. And people are confused. People are dumbed down to a point where it's scary and dangerous.
Just to play the devil's advocate, what would be the defining line between, say this is, not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but say that they do have alien technology.
Right.
They did have captured it, and they're trying to re-engineer it or reverse engineer it. Where's the line between national security and being ahead of the adversary that we might fight down the road, and stuff that public knowledge would be beneficial for public knowledge?
I totally hear what you're saying. And the reasoning being that we haven't gotten this disclosure for so long. And again, jumping into the thing of giving knowledge and information, what is defined as what we release and what we shouldn't give them as far as the technology. Why would we want to release information or something that is going to benefit our enemies, such as things that, let me back up real quick. Dr. Stephen Greer talks about technological advances that could influence and help humanity. That's what we need. Now, would that information be something that the powers that be would see as a threat that they could use against us? Because we know that, the gas companies and the energy companies and those that have their hands, so to speak, in the government pocket, is this the reason why they are not allowing this to happen? Because of the money situation? Is that what it comes down to? Where it's like, okay, we don't want to stop our cash cow from going and give these people something that is not going to be beneficial to us. And the technologies, as far as the weaponizations of this technology that could fall into the hands of our enemies, like the stealth stuff or the weapons grade technology things, as far as weapon systems or arrow fighting systems that could, the stuff that came out with Boeing about that new skin technology that actually morphs and manipulates its structure and its surrounding to fit or it morphs in order to fit its surroundings. When that leak came out, man, it like shut down. Like you didn't hear anything about it. Like it was like, oh man, this shit came out and somebody said something about it and here's this new technology, and then it just went away. So yeah, the benefits of giving the people that need this stuff, like humanity, to benefit society, not just us. Oh, well, it's just the Americans, it's just the Chinese, it's just the Europeans, it's just Russia. The things that could benefit everybody, the things that would
segregate the information.
Yeah, segregating the information and saying, okay, well, we can release this stuff that is going to help humanity. That's going to help.
It's already there. It's already here, man.
Oh yeah,
that's the exotic technologies are already here.
Yeah.
We have all of them in our faces.
Yeah. But that goes again, like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, is you see these people who are coming out with this stuff that are being wet worked, that are being taken out by these black budget agencies that are not wanting this stuff to be released. That these people, like these scientists, these 11 scientists that went missing, especially that girl that came out there and was making those TikTok videos and talking
It's
about,
up to like, isn't it up to 13 now?
yeah, 2 more just went
I thought
missing.
so. Yeah, I thought so.
So, like, I mean, they're talking about this stuff. They're doing it in a way that is not benefiting it to where they're going against the powers that be. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the video of her talking and she's just saying all this stuff, and I'm like going, like, holy crap, no wonder this chick went missing. You know what I mean? And I think that's, again, that's what Dr. Stephen Greer is talking about, is the technology is here. It's there. We know that it's real. We know that it's available, and it's just not being given to us. But you have people that are trying to publicly do this stuff, like get rid of this fossil fuel burning technology and replace it with, 0 point energy or hydro energy, and actually make things cleaner in order to sustain humanity, so we're not destroying our natural resources. But these people either go missing, the technology gets taken over by the government, and they suspend their their patents. They take their patenting information and they stop them from getting this stuff out.
Yeah, we cannot even agree on the natures of reality.
Yeah. What is real and what is fake?
Another big question is, how would this impact religion?
That's another thing, bro, that Bob Lazar was saying, that when he came out and he was talking about working at Area 51 and S4 and the information that he saw, one of the things that he was talking about was that there was a file that was in an office that he was working at that he saw that was related to religion. And when he was looking through it, the information that he saw was saying that would impact everybody's thought process on that subject matter. It would change everything. And to me,
it would change the entire globe.
Oh yeah,
outside of
aspect,
maybe a very minute amount of people.
Yeah, and that is one thing that I've, with the things that I've talked about on that subject is this: if what we know as far as our faith-based idealisms is not what it is being told to us, but is actually something that these people, these influences throughout religion have actually been a quote unquote extraterrestrial nature, that they have actually influenced us, but the powers that be have distorted that information so much that they put it into a control mechanism. And if we find out that that breaks down that functionality of people's faith base, then it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Because if everything that we thought we knew was based on this stuff, and I'm saying, the people that are, basing their whole life around these religion or this religious aspect, which is again where you see the people like the Pope, before he died, Pope, whoever his name, Francis or whatever, came out and said, oh, well, if extraterrestrials are real, then we would gladly baptize them if they asked us to. And it's like, why are they buying up this land in the four corners of Arizona and putting up this big old satellite that's one of the most powerful telescopes in the world, and they're calling it the Lucifer, and they're actually seeing these beings, and they're seeing these.
Sorry, I missed that part.
No, the satellite, or not the satellite, but the telescope that's in Four Corners area. They bought up a site from the native tribe, and they put up a powerful telescope, and it's called the Lucifer.
Okay. Who bought this?
The Catholic Church.
Oh, okay.
Vatican bought it, and they have like their top Jesuit scientists there that are actually doing all this information and gathering up as much information as they can, and actually researching this stuff. So, I mean, if they have an interest in it, which I don't think that they have not known about it, again, it's one of those things where they don't release it because of the control. If they put the stuff out there, you lose control. You're not able to keep people in that mentality of, oh, I need these people. Because if you tell them, well, everything we've been telling you has been a lie or it's been a deception key, then people are just going to be like, whatever. Then I don't need to go to church on Sunday, and I don't need your tithing, to be sending my tithing money if you're telling me that these beings, that God is a God that's, not what you've been telling us or whatnot.
Or is it really to the point where if you believe fully in whatever religion you're in, I think there's only a few that may, we'll just go with monotheism.
Yeah.
There is only one world, only one God. If you have these other beings, now you've destroyed literally everything.
Yeah, because where do they come from and who created them?
Yeah.
Which goes back to the whole thing of, the creation story is like, you hear the ancient Sumerians.
And after that, if you did believe, even if, you do, I know you believe in extraterrestrials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there a God, or we'll just say God, just for the generic term, a higher being? Do they follow the same thing, or is it just like where does it go from there? That would be the question.
Yeah, are they a
part?
part?
Are you literally just here as matter, and you just kind of just, in layman's terms, dust to dust?
Yeah, and again, that's where it goes into, like I said, when Bob Lazar was talking about that, what they refer to us are canisters, like we are just vessels for us, our soul or our spirit or whatever you want to call it. That's how they see us, because we are literally just here in this reality, this realm, experiencing this life. But who we are and what we are, as far as that whole universal spiritual thing, whatever you want to call it, returning to the universe, of being a part of a oneness or a wholeness. I think, to me, what it is that these beings are actually a part of that, but they are not us. They're not like us. I don't think that they have that soul. They don't have that conscious awareness. They are just beings,
if you will, or to an extent.
Yeah. Which is why we are so, I guess you could say, valuable to them. And what I believe, now this is just me, is the whole creation narrative that these beings came and genetically modified us and made us in, and with their DNA, which is why you have people who have that Rh negative blood, which is like really fucking rare. It's not normal. And you have people like, I don't know, these people, like Joshua, who came here to Earth that did not have the same type chromosomes as a person who has a mother and a father. They only have one, which comes from their mom, because the being part of him was just incepted through his mom, through his flesh, whatever, if you want to look at it that way. Yeah. But again, like I said, I think that, that whole aspect of it, man, it's just really weird that, because even when you talk about this stuff and people speak about this stuff or they say things, it's like they don't want to believe it, because they don't want to look outside the box, because if what you're telling them is going to destroy what they believe, they don't want to hear it. And it's like, well, if this stuff comes out to be true, what are you going to do? You can't deny it, because now it's here, it's in your face. And it's like, I think, again, that goes back into the whole disclosure thing. Like you said, is this something that is going to break down everything that we know in society? If it does, are people going to accept it, or are they not going to accept it? Because again, it's like, here it is. Here's the proof. You can deny it all you want, but that just shows your ignorance.
Yep, no, 100%. And I watched a documentary this morning. Obviously, Apple Thorn is not aliens versus common religion, if you will, but it was against Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
It went back and forth, and you're like, well, if I can prove this is right, Christianity, and you can't prove it wrong for Islam, what does that do for you?
Yeah.
And that was the back and forth, and it was pretty interesting. I don't know, you can look it up on YouTube, but yeah. And are you that devout to just say, hey, I'm 100% don't care, this is what it is, or are you willing to take the chance and be like, well, maybe?
Yeah, and it goes into that whole discussion too. Is like, it's one of those things where you either pick and choose your battles, and it's like I tell everybody, because I have family members that just are like, they don't want to hear it or whatever. And it's like, that doesn't bother me. If you don't want to hear it, it doesn't make it not valid. It doesn't make it not credible. It just shows that you have this evidence that's presented to you. You're choosing not to accept it, which is your
that's your prerogative.
Yeah, it's your prerogative. But it's kind of like, you're driving down the road and there's a fucking problem with your car, but you choose to ignore it because you're just like, I just need to get to my destination.
Going on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going because there's a problem, but you're not choosing to address it because you're like, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I this is like something that I think is going to bring about a whole can of worms for a lot of people, which goes back to them, manipulating the masses. Is Project Bluebeam, which we know is in the works and they've been using it, going to be something that they're going to use, kind of like that movie The Mist, where you have people that are going to be so devoutly religious that if I was to sit here and say something against them, that they would be like, heretic, burn them, we need to kill these people. And it's like getting the nut jobs that are gonna come out of the works, and say things that are going to turn them into radicalists, I guess, based on their ideas of accepting what is there and what is not.
No, I definitely get that. And we had a good little lecture at the lodge the other night, and it was about that's his proper way, kind of struggling with your religion, if you will.
Yeah.
And if you don't struggle, what are you really getting out of?
Yeah.
If you're just following along, you're not doing anything, you're not learning, you're not questioning, you're not doing anything else, what are you actually learning?
Yeah.
So you get to a point in your life, you're like, well, why is this here? Why is this important? And you don't look at it, you don't research it, you don't do X, Y, and Z. Are you actually doing anything for it? And that could be expounded to a number of different things. But this just happened to be religion. And I was like, hey, like I've had this argument before, and I've had people, close people in my life, they're like, no, absolutely not. You should never question your religion. You should never do this. You should never do that. Like, just do whatever. I was like, well, I kind of feel like you're missing the point. Maybe that was just me at the time, but like,
yeah,
if you're not striving, like it's was that old term, like if you're not struggling, you're not striving, or something like that. Right. So if you're not willing to push yourself through that the adverse situation, are you really gaining anything from it?
Yeah, and that goes, like you said, dude, it's one of those things, and I bring this argument up to people is that if you are only going to accept what is being told to you and you're regurgitating it, but yet you won't look outside of that box that you put yourself in, are you helping yourself or hindering yourself? Because if you're not going to research the things that you're talking about, and just because it goes against what you believe, makes it wrong, which is why it is so crucial, I think, for those who are looking at, this narrative and this subject matter of these beings, or this whole life or existence outside of what we consciously know of our reality, which is going to break that. The people that will not accept it, that will not look outside of that box to do their research or do their due diligence to look into this stuff, and will not accept it, I think those people are blatantly causing deception amongst people in their congregations. If it gets brought up,
just a simple term, they're ignorant.
Yeah,
which
they
ignorant
just
does not mean. I know a lot of people get that confused. Ignorant does not mean stupid. It just means you do not know what you're talking about,
you
or you do
choose.
not know the subject that is being talked about.
Yeah, and again, that is one of the things that I guess a lot of people who are researching things or looking outside of it, because I question everything, bro, and I get into this whole thing with people in my family about religious topics, and I'll ask them, okay, well, tell me about this. Well, they explain how this could be, but yet you won't accept what another culture is saying when it's almost exactly the same thing, but just a different person or a different situation, but it's on the same topic or same timeline, as far as
And that goes back to that documentary between Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
One of the big conversations they were having is, was Muhammad sent by Jesus?
Yeah.
Because I think it's John, chapter 16, maybe somewhere around there, verse 24, I think it was. It says, Jesus says, I will send somebody on my behalf, or like I will send somebody to take care of you, and so on and so forth. I'm butchering it by all means, but I'm not a scholar by any stretch. But in Islam, it says Muhammad was sent by Allah.
Right.
And some of the Islamic scholars will argue that, well, no. So technically, Muhammad was sent by Allah, and he showed up after Jesus's death.
Right.
In the timeline. So if you look at the timeline, and technically Allah never had a son.
Yeah.
Because Allah has never been a father.
Yeah.
He only has slaves or servants, depending on which way you want to depict the whole situation. So the argument is, and Jesus said, I will send him. So is Jesus God? And he sent Muhammad? Because that changes the entire narrative right there.
Of course.
And so that becomes an argument. And it kind of goes back to, like, did you do the research? Do you know how to do this? Like, are you reading into it, or are you just blindly following it all the way across the board?
Yeah. And that's the thing is, with all types of subject matter, especially this one, it becomes a thing where it's a slippery slope, because people that understand this or do their research on this stuff or have been following it, and they look in it to that narrative and can actually piece those things into it and say, okay, well, like I bring up the argument or I bring up the ideas of, okay, you have Elijah being caught up and taken into heaven, or you have Moses, you have again, you have Joshua, you have Jesus being resurrected or going back into what he calls heaven. Are these just ideas, or especially when they just talk about the description of the chariots of fire, it's like, come on, bro, like, is these descriptions that he's giving, because he gives the details about what this thing looked like and what it sounded like. It's like, are these just extraterrestrial narratives that are just being presented in a way that they are describing it in the best possible way that they could, and we're looking at it as a quote unquote, oh, it's it's a religious narrative of the quote unquote God or angels or whatever deities what that they're talking about.
Yeah, and it's interesting if you look across multiple religions. Even if you start getting in, I think to the nuances of almost is it Buddhism maybe, but they all have similar stories,
right?
Even from like I think the Aztecs and the Mayans that we spoke about before. Everybody has a similar story. It just changes a little bit.
Right. Yeah, you have Quetzalcoatl. You've got Thoth in Egypt, and you've got the narrative in Asia or China about the serpent god or the dragon god that came across the the waters, that came and gave them information and told them all this knowledge and information. Is the same thing about Quetzalcoatl and the Aztecs in the Mayan time, and again Thoth in Egypt, coming and bringing the information and telling them about all this stuff and bringing knowledge and all these resources. That's what gets me is that you see the connection of all of this stuff and the information and the narratives, especially like the whole flood narrative or the creation narrative. It's all similar and it's all told, but it's just told in different cultural narratives. It's all the same thing, and
the dialect may be different, but
yeah, it's little things are here and there, but it's like the whole narrative is was there some extraterrestrial input or influence in the shaping and creation of human beings on this planet, and we see it throughout the throughout the civilization of destruction and rebuilding of societies that are progressing and a restart, or messengers that are sent to warn people about things that are going to happen or trying to get humanity back on place, and it's a cycle thing. So I mean, it's again, man, it's one of those things where I think that people that choose to not see it that way, that only see what they are wanting to see and want to listen or hear about what they want to hear, and refuse to look at those things because they don't, I don't want to hear it because it's gonna quote unquote, make me, look like a sinner. Yeah, and I'm gonna go to hell if I question this, and it's like, wow, like it's really, to me, it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, I feel like if you're like, you take a step back, look at the big picture, and then I'm not saying you should follow whatever you want to follow, but at least take a step back for a second. Research what you need to research.
Yeah.
And then you can follow whatever you want to follow. I don't care about that. That doesn't change my life, doesn't change your life.
Yeah.
But at least take a step back, research what you think is important, what you feel is right.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say
with half of the narrative.
Yeah. I wouldn't say follow. I would say follow with your faith, whether that doesn't mean Christianity, Buddhism, whoever it might be. Follow with your faith. If you believe that, it was extraterrestrials, by all means, follow that. I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't change my life, doesn't change anybody else's life.
Yeah.
But at least do the research. Because if you can't articulate why you're doing it, that's a difference.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, you see, like, it's kind of like, when you see people of one religion going to people's houses, and then you have that person that's in the house will try and articulate it based on the knowledge and the information that they have. And they're saying, okay, well, you're saying that you're telling me one portion of this scripture to base it on this narrative, but let's look at what it's actually saying around that. That's what they're meaning. It's the same thing is, well, why are you telling me this, and give me the information? Don't just tell me one thing, tell me all of it. What is making your decision based on what you're telling me and show it to me.
Yeah. Give me all the information and I will make my determination after that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally true. But yeah, dude, I think, with everything that's going on as far as like, this disclosure movement and these people that are going missing and the distraction that we are seeing from all the other stuff. Because again, I mean, it's only been a few months and here we are, nobody's talking about the Epstein stuff anymore. And it's like, what the freak?
Yeah,
they
that
literally
just got pushed way
eating
aside.
kids. Yeah, and it's like, what the heck?
Now we're worried about what Trump's visit to China that didn't go well.
Yeah,
now we're worried about Taiwan. Now we may strike Iran again. Like, oh, we might take over Cuba. Who fucking knows?
Right. What next?
Yeah. How many things can we do at one time? Let's find out.
And this is only his first term, dude. It's like the dude still has 2.5 more years, and it's like, what else is going to happen? What else is coming up? What else are we going to see, or we're going to have to deal with, or whatnot?
Yep.
But
it's going to be a wild couple of years, and then whatever happens after that, because who knows who's going to be the next electoral person.
I'm telling you, dude, this is really, really throwing a wrench in the works, because it's like people don't see that, like, oh man, like they're just looking at the here and now, but it's like this is literally changing everything for what's going to happen in the future and what's going to come, in the next 2.5 years or even beyond.
100%, yeah. And the fact that I have a little daughter coming soon, that changes a lot of things. My initial plan was like, hey, I'm gonna move to Montana and just live on a ranch by myself. That was my goal, or not by myself, but
live off the grid and just
just be that guy that lives out in the middle of nowhere. Just leave me alone. Don't care. But
exactly,
things change.
Yeah, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming in, stopping by, and having a talk, man.
It's always good talking to you, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Always, man.
All right, you need anything, let me know.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Likewise.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, cool. Fred, I'm sorry that we lost you, man. Hopefully we can get you back on there and have you come in again. I know the internet's been like really crazy and it's been acting crazy. And I appreciate everybody that's come in and, was joining the talk. Jessica, Fred, Jason, Amber, UV3RF, thank you for stopping by and giving your input on the podcast. And, again, if you guys are wanting to check out any more of the episodes of the podcast, all you have to do is go to YouTube and discuss or look on the list. It'll tell you like live or whatever. Go to the podcast section and all the podcasts will actually be on there. And you can go on there and look at all the streamings that are on that playlist. So again, thank you guys for stopping by. I know this was kind of really short, but I'm gonna keep doing this stuff. I'll post it out and put it out at least a week ahead of time, and we'll make it happen. So thank you guys for coming by. You guys have a great weekend. Also, for everybody out there, I know this is a big day or weekend tomorrow for a lot of us who are veterans, to remember and honor our fallen service members, our brothers and sisters who have given the ultimate sacrifice for this great nation of ours. Just remember, this is the reason why we are honoring them. It's not that we honor that they are that they gave their life, but that we honor that there were great people who were willing to lay down their lives and make that ultimate sacrifice for this nation. And just remember that tomorrow when you guys are out celebrating, take the time to honor those servicemen and women for making that ultimate sacrifice. And again, I will see you guys shortly. Hopefully this week, Thursday or Friday, I will put it out on Facebook and share it. But thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out the podcast. And we'll see you guys again soon, real soon.